Ambassador Tell walked into the great council hall. His 3 eyes looked at all the different creatures sitting in the room. There were 47 different alien species here today. Some looked like insects, some looked like rocks, some looked like nothing anyone had ever seen before. The room was filled with strange sounds as everyone spoke in their own languages. Computers changed the words so everyone could understand each other. Tale was from a species called the Vrin. His people had been traveling through space for thousands of years. They had seen many things. They knew about many different kinds of aliens. Today, Tell was very worried. He needed to tell the council something important. "Important council members," Tale said in a loud voice. "I need to talk to you about the new species we found. The humans from planet Earth." High Chancellor Vex made a clicking sound with his mouthparts. Vex looked like a giant bug. He was the leader of the Krill Empire. The Krill were known as the strongest fighters in the whole galaxy. They had the biggest army, the most ships, the best weapons. Vex did not think humans were important at all. "Why should we care about humans?" Vex asked. "They just learned how to fly between stars 3 months ago. They are babies. They know nothing." Tell looked directly at Vex, his main eye focused hard. "I lived with humans for 2 years. I walked on their streets. I ate their food. I learned their history. And I am telling you now with all my heart, never make humans angry. Never start a war with them." Many aliens in the room laughed. The sound was strange because different species laughed in different ways. Some buzzed. Some clicked. Some made sounds like water splashing. They all thought Tile was being silly. How could weak humans be dangerous to the mighty Krill? Another council member named Quinn spoke up. Quinn looked like living glass. Light passed through his body and made rainbow colors. "Ambassador Tell, humans only have 12 spaceships that can fight. The Krill have thousands of ships. What should we be scared of?" "You should fear what they are," Tell said. "Humans are hunters, but not normal hunters. On Earth, humans used to hunt animals by following them. The human would chase an animal for days, for weeks. The animal would run away. It would hide. It would try everything to escape, but the human would never stop following, never stop chasing. Eventually, the animal would be so tired that it could not run anymore. Then the human would catch it." Tale turned on a machine that showed pictures in the air. Images of human history appeared. This is how humans think about everything in life. They never give up. Ever. When humans wanted to walk on their moon, they tried and failed many times. But they kept trying until they succeeded. When sickness killed their people, they studied and worked for hundreds of years until they could cure those sicknesses. When they wanted all humans to talk to each other, they built a giant computer network around their whole planet. More pictures appeared. Humans climbing mountains. Humans exploring oceans. Humans building cities. Humans call this persistence. Once they decide to do something, they do not stop. They do not quit. They do not forget. This is in their blood. This is who they are. Chancellor Vex made an angry clicking sound. Enough. The Council does not care about human stories. The Krill Empire needs the planets in the human solar system. Those planets have materials we want. If humans try to stop us, we will crush them like insects. Then you will start a war that never ends, Tale said quietly. His voice was sad. You can beat humans in battle. You can take their planets. You can destroy their ships. And they will say, yes, we surrender. They will sign your papers. They will pay you money. But they will never really give up. They will plan and wait. Maybe for years. Maybe for generations. But one day they will come back. And they will take revenge. Tale showed more information. Humans have a saying. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. This means they will wait a long time to get revenge. They will be patient. Another saying they have is we will remember, and they do remember. Council members. Humans write down every bad thing that happens to them. They teach their children about these bad things. They never forget anything. The ambassador showed a picture of an old human book. This is a history book. Humans write down everything that happens to them. Wars from thousands of years ago. Treaties that were broken. Promises that were not kept. All written down. All remembered. All taught to every new generation. I said enough, Vex shouted. The Council has heard your warning. We do not care. The Krill Empire will take the outer planets of the Sol system. If humans fight us, we will teach them their place in the galaxy. They will learn to fear us. Tale bowed his head. He knew he had lost. Then I am sorry for your empire. Because you just made the biggest mistake in your history. You will regret this day forever. The council voted. 42 species said yes to the Krill plan. They would let the Krill take human planets. Only the Vryn said no. Tail and his people would not support this war. In the corner of the Great Hall there was a special seat. This seat was for new species who wanted to watch the council. A human woman sat there. Her name was Captain Jiwoo. She was a diplomat from Earth. She sat very still. Her face showed no emotion, but inside she was recording everything, every word spoken, every vote cast, every species that voted to let the Krill attack her people. Jiwoo had a small device hidden in her uniform. It was recording everything. This information would go back to Earth. Her leaders would see what happened today. They would know that the galaxy did not care about protecting humans. They would know that they were alone. And they would prepare. As the council meeting ended, aliens began to leave. They talked to each other about unimportant things. They had already forgotten about the vote. It was just another day for them. Just another small species being pushed around by a bigger species. This happened all the time in the galaxy. But Ambassador Tail did not forget. He watched Captain Jiwoo stand up and walk out of the hall. Her back was straight. Her steps were steady. She did not look angry or scared. She looked determined. And that scared Tail more than anything. Tail had studied humans. He knew that look. It was the same look human soldiers had in old pictures before they went to war. It was the same look human scientists had when they worked on impossible problems. It was the look of someone who had decided to do something and would not stop until it was done. That night, Tail could not sleep. He kept thinking about what would happen. The Krill would attack. Humans would lose the first battles. Everyone would think it was over. But it would not be over. Not really. Humans would go away and hide. They would learn. They would plan. And years from now, maybe decades from now, they would come back. And the Krill would finally understand what Tal had tried to warn them about. The ambassador looked at the stars through his window. Somewhere out there, humans were probably already preparing. They knew the attack was coming. And unlike the Krill, who thought this would be a short, easy war, humans were preparing for a long one. A very long one. Because that is what humans did. They prepared. They persisted. They never gave up. Tel wished he could warn the Krill one more time, but he knew they would not listen. They were too proud, too sure of their power. They could not imagine losing to a species that had just learned to fly between stars. But Tyle knew the truth. He knew that in war, the winner was not always the one with the most ships or the biggest guns. Sometimes the winner was simply the one who refused to quit. And humans never quit, never. Fleet Commander Zack stood on the bridge of his warship and looked down at the human colony below. The colony was on Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter. 17,000 humans lived here. They had built domes and tunnels under the ice. It had taken them years to build this place. Now it belonged to the Krill. The battle had been easy. Too easy. The human defense ships had tried to fight back, but they were so weak. So slow. The Krill weapons had destroyed them in minutes. Now all the humans were locked in detention buildings. Not a single Krill soldier had died. It was a perfect victory. These humans are pathetic, Zack said to his second officer. Their weapons cannot even scratch our armor. Their tactics are so simple. How did the council think they deserved to be? Category 3 species. His officer made a clicking sound of agreement. The Krill communicated partly through clicking their mouth parts together. It was how they showed emotion. They are primitives, Commander. This war will be over in weeks. Soldiers brought the colony governor to see Zax. Her name was Heywan. She was a middle-aged woman with short dark hair. Her uniform was torn and dirty. Blood dripped from a cut above her eye. But she stood straight. Her eyes looked directly at Zax without fear. This one had courage, at least. I am here to accept your surrender, Zax announced. The Krill Empire now owns this moon. You and your people will work for us. You will mine the materials we need. You will follow our rules. If you cooperate, you will live. If you fight, everyone will die. Do you accept? Heywan was quiet for a long moment. She looked at Zax with an expression he could not read. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm and steady. I have a message for you to send to your emperor. Zax found this amusing. A defeated enemy wanted to send a message. How entertaining. Very well, speak your message. Tell your emperor that he has made a terrible mistake, HFY said. Tell him that humanity will remember this day. Tell him that we will hunt every krill ship until none are left. Tell him that no matter how long it takes, we will make you pay. Tell him that he has awakened something he does not understand. The fleet commander laughed. The sound was harsh and clicking. Brave words from someone who just lost. I will enjoy breaking your spirit, human. You cannot break what you do not understand, HFY replied. Her voice was still calm, still steady. Do you know what my name means, Commander? HFY means graceful garden. My parents hoped I would grow up peaceful and gentle. But do you know what name I earned in the military? They called me the Phoenix. Do you know what a phoenix is? Zax did not know. He did not care about human myths. A phoenix is a bird from our old stories, HFY explained. When it dies, it burns. But then it is reborn from its own ashes. It comes back. It always comes back. They called me Phoenix because no matter how many times I fell, I got back up. Every time. Without fail. She smiled. There was something in that smile that made Zax feel uncomfortable. Something dangerous. Every human child learns our history, Commander. We learn about the Great Dying. That was a time when disease almost killed all humans on Earth. Only a few thousand survived. But we came back. We learn about the world wars. Terrible wars where humans fought each other with weapons that could destroy whole cities. Millions died. But we survived. We came back. We learn about every plague, every famine, every disaster. And we are still here. We always come back. Take her away, Zax ordered. He did not like how this human spoke. Her words made him think of Ambassador Tail's warning, the warning he had dismissed as foolish. As guards dragged HFY toward the door, she called back one more message. We have a saying, Commander. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. You have hammered us down today. But we have another saying too. Even a worm will turn. You have made us into a worm. Now watch what happens. 3 days later, the news reached Earth. The Secretary General of the United Human Nations was a man named Tae Sung. He sat in his office and read the report about Europa. His face was like stone. No emotion showed, but inside he was making decisions that would change everything. His military advisors waited quietly. They knew their leader was thinking. Finally, Tae Sung spoke one word. Options. Admiral Yuna stood up. She was the head of the human space navy. Militarily, we cannot win a straight fight. The Krill have 100 ships for every one of ours. If we fight them the normal way, Earth falls within 1 month, maybe less. Then we do not fight the normal way, Tae Sung said. We fight like humans have always fought. We survive first. We fight later. How long can we last? Yuna thought quickly. She had been preparing for this possibility. If we evacuate now, if we scatter our ships and hide them, if we go dark and quiet, we can fight for decades, maybe centuries. We can fight a guerrilla war, hit and run, never stay in one place, make them hunt us. Decades, Tae Sung repeated. He thought about what that meant. Most of the people in this room would be dead before the war ended. Their children would fight, maybe their grandchildren. But that was acceptable. Survival was more important than winning quickly. Then that is what we do. He stood up and looked at everyone in the room. Issue the order. Activate Protocol Dandelion. Scatter humanity across the galaxy. Hide our colonies where they cannot find them. Make us impossible to kill because we are everywhere and nowhere. And begin Project Nemesis. One advisor looked worried. Sir, Project Nemesis will take decades to show results. Maybe longer. It is a very slow plan. Tae Sung smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Then we start now. Today. The Krill think they won a war. They do not understand that the war is just beginning, and they do not understand humans. We do not need to win quickly. We just need to never quit. And we will not. Ever. He looked at each person. The Krill are faster than us, stronger than us. They have better weapons and more ships. But they have one weakness. They think like conquerors. They think in terms of battles and victories. We think in terms of survival and persistence. They want to win the war. We just want to outlast them. And we will. Within a week, Earth appeared to surrender. The government sent a message to the Krill Empire. They accepted all terms. They would pay tribute. They would follow Krill rules. They seemed completely defeated. The human fleet scattered and disappeared. To the Krill, it looked like total victory. The war was over, but in hidden bases throughout the solar system, humanity was preparing. Scientists worked on new weapons. Engineers built secret shipyards. Soldiers trained in new tactics. Children were taught that the Krill were the enemy, and that one day they would take back what was stolen. In hidden bases beyond the solar system, in places the Krill did not even know existed, more humans were working. They were building colonies, growing food, training soldiers, preparing for a war that would last longer than any single human lifetime. But they did not care how long it took. They would see it through. On Europa, Governor Haiwan sat in her cell and smiled. She had received a secret message. Just 2 words, hidden in what appeared to be routine communication. The words were simple but powerful. They said, "We remember." Those 2 words meant everything. They meant Earth had not given up. They meant the fight would continue. They meant that someday, somehow, humanity would come back, and the Krill would pay for what they had done. Haiwan lay down on her hard bed and closed her eyes. She knew she would probably not live to see humanity win. She would probably die here, on this frozen moon, far from Earth. But that was okay. Other humans would carry on. They would remember Europa. They would remember every human who died here. And they would make sure it meant something, because that is what humans did. They remembered. They persisted. They never quit. The Krill had started a chase, and they had no idea what they had unleashed. They were the prey now, they just did not know it yet. 20 years had passed since the fall of Europa. Ambassador Tal sat in his office when he received a message. Someone wanted to meet him, someone from Earth. The name on the request made him pause. Captain Jiwoo, the same human diplomat who had witnessed the council vote 2 decades ago. When Jiwoo entered his office, Tal could see time had changed her. Her hair was now gray. Lines marked her face, but her eyes were still sharp, still determined. She moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. "Ambassador," Jiwoo said, sitting in the chair he offered. "Thank you for seeing me. Captain Jiwoo, I am surprised to find you still alive. The council received reports that humanity had been conquered. We were told the war was over." Jiwoo smiled. It was not a warm smile. The council received false information. Humanity does not conquer easily. We never have. She placed a small crystal device on the table between them. "I came here to share information with you. As a courtesy, because you tried to warn the council. You tried to protect my people. I remember that." Tal picked up the crystal and looked at it. "What is this?" "Data," Jiwoo said. "The Krill Empire currently has 3,412 large warships. These ships are spread across 16 different sectors of space. In the past year alone, they lost 63 vessels. The Krill believe these losses were caused by equipment failures, navigation accidents, and random pirate attacks." Tal's eyes widened. "All 3 of them. 63 ships in 1 year? That is a disaster. Even in wartime, such losses would be terrible." "Yes," Jiwoo agreed. "Would you like to know what really happened to those ships?" The Vryn diplomat felt cold suddenly. He understood. Humans. It was humans. Humans, Jiwoo confirmed. "We have a saying. Slow and steady wins the race. The Krill think they won the war 20 years ago. We know the war never ended. We just changed how we fight." She leaned back in her chair. "Do you know how humans first reached space, Ambassador? We started with simple chemical rockets. They could barely reach our moon. By galactic standards, they were primitive toys. But we learned from them. We made them better. Year after year, we improved. That is what humans do. We start small. We learn. We get better. We never stop improving." Jiwoo activated the crystal. Holographic images appeared above Tail's desk. They showed detailed information about Krill ship movements, weapon systems, and defense patterns. 20 years ago, our weapons could not damage Krill armor. Our ships were too slow to catch theirs. Our technology was generations behind. Today, everything is different. The images changed. They showed new human ships, weapons that looked strange and deadly. We developed stealth technology that the Krill cannot detect. We created weapons that go through their shields instead of breaking them. We invented computer viruses that destroy their navigation systems. Every time we fight them, we learn. Every ship they lose, we study. We are always learning, always improving. This is insane, Tail said quietly. You are attacking an empire that could destroy your entire species. If they find you, if they discover your hidden colonies, they will kill everyone. Could they find us? Jiwoo asked. The question seemed simple, but Tal sensed a trap in it. Ambassador, do you know where Earth is right now? Tail accessed his computer system. He searched for information about Earth. According to the most recent galactic charts, the Sol system is listed as uninhabited. But that must be an error. Earth is the third planet from... He stopped. He read the data again. It was not an error. The charts clearly stated that no intelligent life existed in the Sol system. Earth was evacuated 17 years ago, Jiwoo explained. Every human left. All 32 billion of us. We now live in hidden colonies scattered across more than 200 star systems. The Krill currently occupy Earth. They have 10,000 soldiers there, but they are guarding an empty planet. We left behind automated systems that make the planet appear inhabited. The Krill think they are watching us. Really, they are watching nothing. Tile stared at her. The scale of what she was describing was enormous. Evacuating an entire planet, hiding billions of people across hundreds of systems, all while maintaining a secret war against a galactic empire. How is this possible? Because we are patient, Jiwoo said. Because we plan for the long term. Because we refuse to give up. Do you know what a dandelion is, Ambassador? No. It is a plant from Earth, a weed actually. Most people consider it annoying. When the flower dies, it produces hundreds of seeds. The wind carries these seeds everywhere. You can pull up one dandelion, but 20 more will grow somewhere else. You cannot eliminate dandelions because they spread faster than you can kill them. She smiled. That is humanity now. We are dandelions. The Krill destroyed our home, but that just made us spread across the galaxy. Now they cannot eliminate us. We are everywhere. We are nowhere. We are impossible to destroy because there is no single target left to attack. Why are you telling me this? Toil asked. Why reveal your strategy? Because in 5 years, maybe less, the Krill losses will become impossible to hide, Jiwoo said. They will realize they are being hunted. They will panic. When they panic, they may accuse other species of helping humanity. They may attack their neighbors. They may try to drag the entire Galactic Council into their war. I am giving you this information so the Vryn can prepare, so you can protect yourselves. She stood to leave. You tried to warn them, Ambassador. You told the Council that humans never stop. You told them we would hunt our enemies forever. They did not listen. Now they will learn. The Krill started this chase. They made themselves our prey. And humans are very good at hunting prey. We do not need to be faster. We do not need to be stronger. We just need to never give up. Jiwoo walked to the door, then paused. And we will never give up, Ambassador, ever. That is not who we are. That is not how we are built. We will chase the Krill across the galaxy for 100 years if we must. 1,000 years. It does not matter. Time is on our side. Because we are patient, and we never forget. After she left, Tel sat alone for hours. He studied the data on the crystal. The pattern was clear. Human attacks were becoming more frequent, more sophisticated, more deadly, and the Krill still had not realized they were being hunted. They still thought they were the hunters. They could not imagine that they had become the prey. Tail sent a new warning to the Galactic Council. He updated his previous report. He added the new data. He explained that humanity was not conquered, that they were fighting a long, patient war, that the Krill Empire was slowly being destroyed from within, but he knew his warning would be ignored again. The Council believed in military power. They believed in technology. They believed in the natural order where strong species dominated weak ones. They could not understand a species that simply refused to accept defeat. They could not comprehend persistence as a weapon. They would not understand until it was too late. And by then, Tail thought sadly, the Krill Empire would already be finished. They just did not know it yet. The chase was already over. The Krill had lost from the moment they decided to hunt humans. Because you cannot outrun a persistence hunter. Eventually, you get tired. Eventually, you make a mistake. And when you do, the human will be there always, forever. 43 years after Europa fell, Fleet Commander Zax walked through the ruins of what had been the Krill Empire's largest shipyard. He had been promoted many times over the years. Now he was Supreme Commander, the highest military position in the Empire. But today, that promotion felt like a curse. 200 warships had been destroyed here. 15,000 Krill were dead. The shipyard itself, which had taken decades to build, was now just twisted metal and broken dreams. And the worst part was that no one had seen the enemy. The attack had come from inside, from systems they had believed were secure. A young officer approached Zax. The officer looked nervous. Everyone was nervous these days. Supreme Commander, we finished analyzing the attack. The explosion started inside the facility. From our own computer systems. Sabotage, Zax said. The word tasted bitter. How? We check every worker. We monitor every system. We have the best security in the galaxy. Sir, you need to see the security footage. The officer activated a holographic display. It showed a Krill worker walking toward a critical power junction. But something was wrong. The way the worker moved was too smooth. Too purposeful. As Zax watched, the worker reached the junction. For just a moment, the image flickered, and beneath the Krill exoskeleton there was a human face. Zax felt his hearts beat faster. Krill had 3 hearts. Right now, all 3 were pounding with fear. A disguise. They are using advanced holographic disguises. Yes, sir. We found evidence of 17 infiltrators in the facility. Some had been working here for years. Years, sir. They were among us the whole time. Years. The word echoed in Zax's mind. If humans had been infiltrating for years, how many were hidden in Krill society now? How many workers were actually humans in disguise? How many government officials? How many soldiers? The thought made him sick. An urgent communication interrupted his dark thoughts. The Emperor was calling. Zax felt his fear grow stronger. The Emperor did not call unless he was very angry. Supreme Commander Zax, the Emperor's voice was cold and filled with rage. Explain to me how a species we conquered 43 years ago just destroyed our main military shipyard. Your Majesty, the humans are more resourceful than we thought. They have developed the humans are insects. The Emperor screamed. We crushed them in days. How are these insects destroying our empire? Zax wanted to explain. He wanted to talk about the thousands of small attacks over 40 years. The slow erosion of Krill military power. The discovery that humans had never truly surrendered. But the Emperor did not want explanations. He wanted results. You have 1 cycle to fix this problem, Commander. Eliminate this threat. Failure is not acceptable. The connection ended. Zax stood alone in the wreckage. How could he eliminate a threat he could not find? How could he fight an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere? An enemy that had spent decades learning, planning, infiltrating? Another alert sounded. A transmission was coming in. The source was unknown. It was addressed specifically to him. This was against all security protocols, but Zax felt compelled to open it. Maybe it would give him answers. A human woman appeared on the screen. She was old. Her hair was completely white. Deep lines marked her face. But her eyes were sharp and clear. And Zax recognized her. After 43 years, he still recognized her. Hello, Fleet Commander Zax, the woman said. Or should I call you Supreme Commander now? Congratulations on your promotion. Though I imagine you wish you still had your old job. It was simpler then, was it not? You, Zax breathed. Governor Haywan, you survived. I told you I would, Haywan said. I told you humans always come back. Like the phoenix, remember? Do you also remember what else I told you that day? Zax remembered. The memory was burned into his mind. She had promised that humanity would hunt every Krill ship to extinction. At the time, he had thought it was just brave words from a defeated enemy. Now he understood it had been a promise. A prophecy. We are halfway there, Commander, Haywan continued. Your fleet is now roughly equal to ours in size. 5 years from now, we will have more ships than you. 10 years from now, the Krill Empire will no longer exist as a military power. 15 years from now, the Krill Empire will no longer exist at all. This is insane, Zax said. Even if you win, what will it cost you? How many humans have died for your revenge? Haywan's expression became hard, like stone.
Fewer than would have died under Krill occupation.
And we will pay any price necessary. That is what you never understood, Commander. When you attacked Europa, you did not just attack a colony. You attacked the idea that humanity could ever be safe. You proved that we could never stop fighting. So we will not stop. We cannot stop. It is no longer a choice. It is who we are now. She leaned closer to the camera, but I did not contact you just to gloat. I'm here to offer something I never received. I am offering you peace, complete withdrawal from all human-claimed territories, reparations for the damage you caused, a non-aggression treaty enforced by the Galactic Council. These are our terms. And if the Emperor refuses your terms, then the hunt continues, Haywan said simply. We will chase you across the galaxy. We will destroy every ship, dismantle every base. We will do this for 100 years if we must. 1,000 years. It does not matter to us. We are patient. We can wait. Can you? Zax wanted to argue. He wanted to say the Krill would never surrender to humans, but he looked at the ruins around him. He thought about the hundreds of ships lost over the years, the thousands of Krill dead, the fear that now filled every corner of the Empire, and he realized Haywan was right. The Krill could not win this war. They had already lost. They just had not accepted it yet. I will deliver your terms to the Emperor, Zax said quietly. I know you will try, Haywan said. Her voice was not unkind, but I also know he will refuse. The Krill do not negotiate with species they consider inferior. Your pride will not allow it, so the war will continue, and more Krill will die. And eventually your Emperor will be forced to accept reality. The only question is how many must die before that happens. The transmission ended. Zax stood in the silence that followed. He thought about Ambassador Tail's warning all those years ago. Never attack humans. They will hunt you forever. How right Tail had been. How foolish the Council had been to ignore him. How foolish Zax himself had been. He began writing his report to the Emperor. He included Haywan's peace offer. He explained that continued war would only bring more destruction. He recommended accepting the terms. But even as he wrote, Zax knew the Emperor would refuse. The Krill had never surrendered to anyone. They would fight until the end. And that, Zax realized, was exactly what the humans were counting on. They knew the Krill would not surrender. They knew Krill pride would force them to fight to the last ship. And humans were perfectly willing to accommodate that. They would hunt the Krill to extinction if necessary, because that is what persistence hunters did. They chased their prey until it could run no more. Zax finished his report and sent it. Then he sat down and waited. He was Supreme Commander of the Krill military forces. He commanded millions of soldiers, thousands of ships, weapons that could destroy planets. But none of it mattered. Because you cannot win a war against an enemy that refuses to lose. You cannot defeat someone who will chase you forever. The Krill had made humans their prey 43 years ago. But somewhere along the way, the roles had reversed. Now the Krill were the prey, and the hunt would continue until there were no more Krill left to hunt. It was inevitable. It was unavoidable. It was the price of attacking a persistence predator. Zax closed his eyes and thought about the young commander he had been 43 years ago. That commander had been so confident, so sure of Krill superiority, so certain the war would be easy. If only he could go back and warn his younger self. If only he could make him understand what humanity truly was. But time only moved in one direction, and the past could not be changed, only endured. 67 years had passed since Europa fell. Ambassador Tail stood before the Galactic Council once more. But the council chamber was very different now. Half the seats were empty. The Krill Empire had collapsed 3 years ago. 6 other species had been reduced to protectorate status, meaning they no longer controlled their own military forces. And sitting in what had once been the Krill seat was Admiral Jiwoo, the same human who had been a captain 67 years ago. Now she represented the United Human Nations on the Galactic Council. Her hair was completely silver. Her face showed the lines of age, but her eyes were still sharp. High Chancellor Quinn spoke first. Quinn was from the Beller Trade Federation. He had replaced Chancellor Vex, who had died decades ago. The Council recognizes Admiral Jiwoo. You requested this emergency session. We are listening. Quinn sounded nervous. Everyone was nervous around humans now. The species that had seemed so weak 67 years ago had destroyed the most powerful empire in the galaxy. No one wanted to be their next target. Jiwoo stood. Despite her age, she stood straight and strong. Honored council members. 67 years ago, Ambassador Tel warned this council about humanity. He said that if you attacked us, we would hunt our enemies forever. The council did not listen. The Krill Empire paid the price for that mistake. She paused and looked around the chamber. Today I stand before you with a different message. The war is over. Humanity does not want to continue fighting. We never wanted war in the first place. What we want is simple. We want to live in peace. We want to grow. We want to work with our galactic neighbors, not fight them. Chancellor Quinn spoke carefully. You will forgive us if we find that difficult to believe. Your species destroyed the Krill Empire. You dismantled the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Because they attacked us first, Jiwoo said firmly. Every action humanity took was in response to Krill aggression. We did not seek this war. We would have been happy to develop peacefully. But when we were forced to choose between giving up or surviving, we chose survival. We did what was necessary. She activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the council floor. This is Project Restoration. Over the next 50 years, humanity will help rebuild Krill infrastructure. We will share our technology. We will provide resources. We will help their people recover from the war. We do not want to rule them. We want to help them heal. More images appeared. This is the Persistence Initiative. We are sharing human medical technology with any species that wants it. Agricultural techniques. Educational resources. All free, no cost, no hidden agenda. Because humanity learned long ago that we are all stronger when we help each other. Ambassador Tel spoke. He was very old now. His voice was weaker than it had been decades ago. But his mind was still sharp. Admiral, the council is confused. You have proven that humanity can destroy empires. Why offer help instead? Why not simply take what you want? Jiwoo smiled. It was a sad smile. Because that is not who we are, Ambassador. Yes, humans are persistence predators. When threatened, we will hunt our enemies to the ends of the universe. But we are also social creatures. We build communities. We help our neighbors. We believe that the galaxy is safer and better when everyone cooperates. She let her words sink in before continuing. Humanity requests membership in this council, not as conquerors, not as overlords, but as equal partners. We want to share our skills and our knowledge. We want to help build a galaxy where problems are solved through talking, not fighting, where species can develop without fear. And if the council says no? Quinn asked. The question was clearly just for form. Everyone knew the council could not refuse. Then we will continue to exist independently, Jiwoo replied. We will maintain our defenses. We will protect our territories. We will follow our own path. But we will not attack anyone. We will not expand through conquest. We will simply exist. Because that is all we ever wanted. The chamber was silent. The assembled species looked at each other. Private communications flew back and forth. Finally, Chancellor Quinn spoke again. Before we vote, I have a question for Ambassador Tel. The old Vryn diplomat stood slowly. Yes, Chancellor? You warned us 67 years ago. You told us never to attack humanity. Would you give the same warning today? Tel looked at Jiwoo. Then he looked back at the Chancellor. Yes, but I would add something new. Humans make terrible enemies. They never forget. They never stop. They will chase you forever if you make them angry. But, he gestured at the displays showing human aid programs, they also make extraordinary friends. They bring the same persistence to friendship that they bring to war. Once humanity decides to help you, they will move mountains to make it happen. He turned to face the full council. So yes, never attack humans. But also, never underestimate their capacity for kindness, cooperation, and hope. They are hunters, yes, but they are also builders and teachers and healers. They will chase their enemies forever, but they will also stand by their friends forever. The choice of which side of humanity you encounter is yours. The vote was called. This time, unlike 67 years ago, the vote was unanimous. Every species voted yes. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities. They would have a voice in galactic affairs. They would be protected by council law. They would be equals. As the session ended and representatives began to leave, Ambassador Tel approached Admiral Jiwoo. Congratulations, Admiral. Though I imagine you would have preferred to avoid all of this. We would have, Jiwoo agreed. We had no desire to fight a galactic empire. But humans have a saying, the only easy day was yesterday. Every day brings new challenges. The important thing is to face them with determination and hope. And persistence, Tail added with a small smile. And persistence, Jiwoo confirmed, always persistence. They stood together for a moment. Two old diplomats who had witnessed the beginning and end of a war that had changed the galaxy. Tail had tried to prevent it. Jiwoo had been forced to fight it. Now it was finally over. Tell me, Admiral, Tail said quietly, did you ever doubt? In all those years of fighting, did you ever think humanity might lose? Jiwoo thought about the question. She thought about Europa, about the billions of humans scattered across the galaxy, about the decades of fighting, about friends who had died, about children who had grown up never knowing peace. No, she said finally. We never doubted. Not because we were certain of victory, but because we were certain we would never stop trying. That certainty was enough. Years passed. New species joined the Galactic Council. Each one received a briefing on Council history. The Krill War was required study. Every diplomat learned about what had happened. Every military commander studied the tactics. Every leader learned the lesson. The lesson was simple. It was written in every training manual. It was taught to every cadet. It was repeated in every diplomatic school. The lesson was this: never attack humans. They will hunt you forever, but if you offer them friendship, they will stand by you just as long, because humans were creatures of persistence. Whatever they committed to, they would see through to the end. Whether that commitment was war or peace, they would never quit. They would never give up. They would never stop. The only question was whether you wanted to be their target or their ally. The galaxy had learned this lesson the hard way. The Krill Empire had paid the price for that education. But from that price came understanding, and from understanding came a new era of peace. Humanity took its place among the stars not as conquerors but as partners. They shared their knowledge freely. They helped species in need. They built hospitals and schools and farms on 100 worlds, and they did it with the same persistence they had shown in war. They simply refused to stop helping. Ambassador Tail lived long enough to see this new era begin. Before he died, he wrote a final report to the Vryn government. In it, he described what he had learned about humanity. He wrote about their capacity for violence, yes, but also about their capacity for kindness, their ability to forgive, their desire to build rather than destroy. His final words in that report were simple. We feared humanity would dominate the galaxy. Instead, they are helping it grow. We worried they would be predators. Instead, they have become gardeners. They tend the garden of galactic civilization with the same persistence they once used in war, and the galaxy is better for it. Admiral Jiwoo served on the Galactic Council for 20 years before retiring. She returned to Earth, which had been rebuilt and repopulated. She spent her final years writing her memoirs. In them, she described the war, the struggle, the long decades of fighting. But she also wrote about hope, about the belief that humanity could build something better. Her final chapter was titled Persistence. In it, she wrote, We were told we could not win. We were told we were too weak, too small, too primitive. But we had something our enemies did not understand. We had the ability to simply keep going, to never quit, to persist. That was our strength, and in the end it was enough. The galaxy never forgot the lessons of the Krill War. Schools taught about it. Historians studied it. Military academies analyzed it. And everyone learned the same truth. When you hunt a persistence predator, you become the prey. When you attack a species,